Hey everyone, we're here today in northern Phoenix here in Arizona at the Phoenix Herpetological Society, and they act as a sanctuary. They're an amazing place, take in hundreds of reptiles. They do a lot of great work both in conservation and with educating the public, doing a whole lot better of a job than I certainly can. So let's go check out to see some really cool animals and a really great facility.
When you first come through their main gates, before you kind of start to make your way through the rest of the facility, the first thing that obviously catches your attention is all of the tortoises and how much room they have allocated for them. And they have quite a few of them, especially the Aldabra tortoises. I didn't realize how many I always forget, I should say, how many there are in captivity and in private hands that end up in places like this. And it was really interesting to see these such large and beautiful endangered animals being well kept for, as well as just the sheer mass of sulcata tortoises, which is unfortunately very telling about the pet trade.
The owners were kind of close with people in Arizona Game and Fish, and a lot of the animals like crocodilians, venomous snakes, those illegally kept reptiles were often put down once they were confiscated because Game and Fish didn't have the place to keep those animals and they didn't have the knowledge to keep them properly without anyone getting hurt. So it made the most sense, but you know, it was sad to see those animals have to be, you know, euthanized when they could be used for education. So originally it was just going to be a place for those animals to stay, and then they started taking in animals from the public, you know, our pet trade animals like the Russian tortoises or the sulcatas. And now we do a lot of education programs. We also train firefighters, police, animal control on how to remove and relocate rattlesnakes. So we do a little bit of everything. There's like a huge list of all of the different things that we do here. And we are the largest reptile sanctuary in the U.S. And then the largest anti-venom bank on the Southwest. False Gario, that's guesstimated to be around 70 or 80 years old. She was captured out of the wild in the 80s, and they think she was hatched in the late 40s or early 50s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're missing quite a few teeth. You are an old lady.
She is.
So, but I could still bite you.
Yeah.
With the few
Yeah,
that I
you
have.
wouldn't want to get your arm in there. These crocodiles in here, which is cool because they're one of only 2 species of reptile where both the mother and father take care of the young. That's been documented anyways.
That's really cool. What's the other species?
True Gharials.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Do you have Gharials here?
We don't have True Gharials. We're only missing True Gharials and Muggers.
I was gonna ask, like, I know that you had a lot of them, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah, just those. And then our Niles. I love these guys.
Hello.
Mr. E.
Mr. E?
And Cleopatra.
E and Cleopatra, huh? I'm sure. I don't have a great history with Niles, so.
They seem nicer.
They do seem a little bit nicer than Daniel's son. Although he was egged on a little bit.
I knew she was from Gatorland, but Flavio is their croc behavioralist, and he came here and, you know, I showed him around. He was so nice, and he used to train her when she was little, and he told me that Ricardo was her dad, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it's so amazing because she remembered him.
Aww.
And he would be like, Jojo here, and she would walk across the cage to go to him, and he would walk over here and be like, Jojo, and she'd come right to him. It was insane. You know, he hadn't seen her for 15 years.
That's nuts. So I know that you mentioned that she had remembered her original trainer from 15 plus years ago. Do a lot of the animals, specifically the crocodilians here, have specific individuals, like different keepers that's who they relate to?
Yeah, definitely. They know that I'm the tour guide, so I just bring people by. I don't bring food, so they don't get too excited with me. But when our president Russ or any of our other keepers that feed them come by, they get excited and know that it might be feeding time, especially when they see like a 5-gallon bucket. They get
That's so cool.
real excited and come to the door like this. And that big alligator, Clem, doesn't like Russ because he associates him with his capture. So Russ or anybody bald that looks like Russ, he gets immediately angry.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I know that, you know, that everyone kind of underestimates how intelligent reptiles are in general. I think it's starting to come around, like, with all the training and stuff that are going on with, like, McCurley does with the monitors and stuff like that. But so much of crocodilians' brains isn't it a lot of it allocated for memory, to remember patterns and stuff like that, to show up during certain times when food will be there? Yeah, it's so cool. Like, I know that, like at Colorado Gators, if they see Jay or anybody with that hat that he wears, every single one just takes off.
Yeah, they're like
immediately, and then other times they'll just hang out. But even when they're sitting there basking up, as soon as that hat shows up, they just take off.
Salt water's over here.
Ooh, salty.
If you go up on here, you could get a good shot through there.
Okay. Oh wow.
So the female is in the back over there, Angelina, and then Brad.
That is so cool. Were these guys out of the wild as well?
Let me see where
What kind of species of cayman is this?
So this is a Yukari cayman. We've never bred this species before and had viable eggs, so we're really excited about them.
That's awesome. Such a cute little bugger.
Yeah, we'll see his parents when we go over to the croc area.
How many species of crocodilian have you actually gotten to like produce and breed and have viable offspring from?
Ooh, oh my gosh, that's a question.
Did I put you on the spot? I'm sorry.
I don't know. We've had Yukari, a lot of Siamese.
That's awesome.
A few alligators. We don't breed those very often.
Well, for probably a good reason.
Morlets. We've had those.
Cool.
We've had the Chinese alligators and the Niles lay, but the eggs weren't viable. Same with the dwarf crocs.
Oh.
We've had spectacled cayman hatch.
Okay.
So
that's really cool.
4 or 5 species.
I only saw the one Johnston's croc. Is there? Have you gotten anything from them or no?
Cool. Maybe one day.
And then the black cayman, there's just a lot going on. Or?
Yeah, they're still too young. So once they get a bit bigger, we're hoping they'll breed for us.
Because you just had the one large one over there, so.
Yeah. So there's only a few others in the country, and they're all too old to breed. So we're waiting on those guys that we saw at the beginning to get a bit bigger.
That's so really cool. So that's just really really cool, because I know that, like you said, the black cayman, they're not going anywhere. So because you are at the sanctuary, but you're also involved with conservation and stuff like that. So do you kind of have almost like an species survivor plan almost thing? Do you actually have? Do you have SSPs with similar things?
Yep, the Chinese alligators are on there, and I believe the Orinoco's are on there. Not 100% sure.
Well, but I know they have them too, but I wasn't exactly sure. Do you know anything about the Yukaris? Or?
I'm not sure about the Yukaris, but I also think the slender snouts might be a part of that too. We got those from Africa. They shipped them to us.
Oh, fun. That's really cool.
Yeah, but being a part of programs like that are just so amazing and so beneficial. I know that the Cuban Crocs, we have the male and female together now, that they'll be a part of that too once they decide to get it on.
Okay, so this one's throwing me for a loop. What species is this exactly?
This is a slender snouted crocodile, but she's a bit special. So she is melanistic, which is like the opposite of albino. Instead of being all white, she's very dark and pretty like this.
Right. So for instance, like with like IMG boas, that increasing melanine, they get darker and darker. Only they're born like this. So more like the black leopards and black jaguars. Is that
correct?
That kind of weird trait that just shows up. Is she? Have you seen or heard of any others like this one, or just an odd little duck here?
We had another one, but he passed away quite a few years ago. But she's been doing just fine. I haven't heard of any other ones.
That's so crazy. Have you tried? I know it sounds a little contradictory compared to like actual conservation work, but have you tried actually producing anything from them to see if that's like a true genetic recessive trait, or?
We put her in with our other slender snouts for a while, but she's still a bit smaller than them, so they kind of bullied her, so we put her over here.
Aw.
So maybe one day she'll be back over there, and we'll see what happens with the baby. The New Guineas, the Siamese, and the Salties are all about the same level of scary.
Really? Even more so than the Cubans that literally run?
Yeah, our Cubans aren't bad, honestly.
Really? Oh,
They're
man.
pretty calm.
Inside one of their buildings that they also use for their education, well, while it would be happening, not right now obviously, but for their education classes and programs, they also house most of their snakes, or at least their venomous snakes, obviously behind locked doors and cages. But they have a really amazing selection of animal species represented here. One side being mostly the rattlesnakes, especially those native to Arizona and the surrounding areas. And the other side, they have more of the exotic species, i.e., you know, bush vipers, lance heads, black mambas, and cobras, and things like that. And they do have quite a few different species. It was actually really interesting to see so many different ones, but it does kind of make sense, especially with some of them, seeing as how they came from, here is the Indo-Chinese cobra, which kind of looks like a piebald cobra, and he gave us a little demonstration. But a lot of the more exotic ones came from other facilities that shut down, or moving them around that didn't have room for them to make room for other species that they wanted to work with in their programs. They had such large species of bothrops, or the lance heads. I always forget how big they can be. It's crazy. And it's just really cool to see all these other species. And they, you know, as I said before, it's also their education classroom. So they also have, you know, a baby alligator. They have bearded dragons and crested geckos and things like that. They also have some chuckawaws, which is really cool. But it was just really interesting that they could see all these different species of, you know, venomous snakes as in a zoo setting and as an educational program thing, where you can see the venomous ones and then interact with the non-venomous handleable educational animals as well.
So this is a bohemian boa, and honestly, I don't know that much about these guys. His name is Slick.
His name is Slick.
And for obvious reasons, like, luckily I think the camera will pick up how iridescent he is. It's almost like a Colombian rainbow boa kind of iridescent sheen, but they're so cool, and I just love that almost aneurystic look to them. But I think that's just their normal pattern. I don't know for sure or not, but they're just really cool.
It's so weird that the boom slings do this.
Dancing for you.
I know.
He's like, I see the camera. Weirdo.
So that was an amazing trip. You guys, they have such amazing, really cool animals, and I'm just going to keep saying amazing, as well as clearly they take in quite a few animals, like we said before. As we can say, they're even working on making a few more on their own, right? So if you guys want to check them out, hit them up on all of their social media. I'll put links down below in the description. You know the drill, jzsreptiles@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, all of that jazz. If you be so kind, hit them up. I'm sure that they could probably use some donations with COVID and everything going like that. And maybe check out our Patreon, because we have a cool few new rewards coming up, as well as hopefully talking to a few other people to get some other fun rewards for everyone out there. So hope you enjoyed this video, hope you're having a great day, and we'll check you next time.